Oh yeah, let's make a video. FairWestWork, it's the 20th. Talking, I don't know if this is exactly what I want to call it, but outreach ideas. What do I mean by outreach? I mean talking to people in the neighborhood in a really broad sense. To be a little bit more specific, though, in this particular context, someone who falls into one, if not more, of these categories: homeless, unhoused, um, clearly having some substance use that is visible um, in either their behavior or just the scene that you come upon. And then this one's a little funny. It sounds funny, but someone's socially isolated, and that doesn't always mean that they are physically alone, but someone who, as I get into conversation with them, if I find that they really don't have, excuse me, support systems around them available, or they're very limited, um, oftentimes being seen as like, oh, you've burned bridges or you drive people away. That's what I'm talking about. One of those three categories: unhoused, substance abuse, socially isolated. At least one, maybe more. Um, how do you do outreach there? So um, that's the what. What else did my note say? Why? Why do this? Why do I do this? Um, that's basically all I can tell you. Um, I wanted to feel more empowered. I wanted to feel more interconnected within the community I spend the vast majority of my time in. Um, increase my sort of ability to feel not just like a passive actor in this community, but actually being engaged. That feels really nice. It makes me feel more safe. And I think it can help other people feel more safe. So that's why I make these silly videos. I have written down here risk disclaimer. It's risky, I guess, depending on what you think I mean. So I'm going to paint out a scenario in a minute. But this little video is kind of inspired by neighbor Paul telling me a couple weeks ago about a time when he was visiting his wife over by Lomas and Tramway, and he saw a woman pushing a cart down the street, and it just really affected him. He was explaining to me that he didn't know what to do, but he knew he should do something. I think a lot of people can resonate with that feeling. I certainly can. Um, and so with that in mind, I made some notes. It's kind of hard to explain, so I'm just gonna list out some scenarios. Every situation's a little bit different, but hopefully this will be of some use. The Harm Reduction Collaborative. Who knows about it in the neighborhood? A growing number of people. It is a nonprofit down at Domingo and Madera, 120, a little north of 120. 120 is my office. So it's something near 120 Madera. It's on the corner of Domingo and Madera, on the northeast corner. So I've been on and off going down there and volunteering to provide a little bit of wound care services to people as they're waiting in line to typically get the supplies they need to use more safely the different types of drugs. So that can be foil, that can be needles, pipes, things like that. So I would hang out in line. They used to be in a different location. So I'll have, the scene I have is where there's a line outside on the sidewalk. There are about 10 people in line, and I don't have an exact conversation to replay, but I would walk up into line, and these are people seeking service. And so this is already different. This is not like trying to walk up to somebody on a sidewalk and talk to them. This is someone who is waiting in line for a thing. And so I'd come introduce myself, say my name, and then just get to making small talk. Like, that's a big thing. So learning how to get someone to talk to you is real big. If that's not your jam, so what? Do it anyway. You can, like, if you want to, because it wasn't my jam, and sometimes I am not in the mood, and sometimes it's just not working. Sometimes you bomb, you know. Sometimes I introduce myself to 10 people at a time. Hey, my name's Nick. I'm a nurse. You got any questions about healthcare, nursing? People don't really respond to that. That's fine. So you start saying, oh, I like your shoes. If you in fact like the shoes. Be honest. Like, don't just completely make shit up, but like, say plausible things and just strike up conversation. Get the conversation going and see where it goes. I think that's an important first step. Outreach. Like, have objectives if you'd like, but don't think that your goals will be achieved. Go with what you have to read on the fly what is available. Not everybody that I talk to wants to talk about, well, certainly sometimes they don't want to talk, in which case, see you later. Keeping in mind, I try and keep in mind that this might not be the last time I see them. And if they know that I respect their boundary when they don't seem to want to talk, maybe the next time they wave a little bit more easily. And then sometime I say, hey, and they say, sup. We're making some progress. It doesn't have to be a one-time encounter. Play the longer game. Build up trust. There's a severe lack of trust on all sides. Build up trust for yourself as well. Ease into things. Go slowly. So let's see, back in line. My goals oftentimes are to roll around in a chair. No, my goals are really to evaluate how the service providers are doing around here, and to direct people towards the ones that seem seem to be doing well, and to not really worry about the ones that aren't serving the needs. Although that's probably overly simplistic. It's more like there are a lot of different styles of offering services: housing, rehab, mental health support, whatever. Having a catalog of which service providers are out there, what they do, and which may be pertinent to the situation and confronting the person that you're talking to. And so some of that requires you to, like, get to know the person, see their situation, ask them questions, make them comfortable answering questions. Don't push too hard. If you do, you'll likely be told, or likely the conversation will not go the way that you're trying to make it go. You gotta figure out through some motivational interviewing style what this individual needs, if anything. And if they, if anybody says, oh, low battery. If anybody says they don't need anything, fine. I'm not even saying you have to take that as the final answer. Because if somebody comes up to me and I don't really know them and they're like, oh, how can I help you? I don't know. What are you talking about? That's a weird question. So asking more pointed questions sometimes can be helpful. Like, and also I'm trying to learn as I go about this. This has got to be a two-way street. This is not just like, oh, let me like save you by talking to you. No. One, we're not saving. I'm not saving anybody. Offering some information and receiving information. It's got to be an exchange, I think, for it to really work. And it doesn't have to be necessarily 100% or 50-50 exchange, but there should be some exchange. It should be a dialogue, not a monologue. While I'm in the middle of this monologue. But I'll often ask people, where are you staying? Are you staying indoors? And if they're not, I'll ask them, are y'all, do you have any prospects on the future about housing? I get a lot of people kind of like indicating that they're not really sure of any of the methods that they've gone after as to whether or not they'll pan out. It's kind of like, a lot of ambiguity. And then the people who are housed, cool. I like to ask them how it's going, where they're at, how they got in there, what some of the requirements are, what some of the restrictions are, what are the pros, what are the cons, and just chat and learn from them and think about how to integrate that information into just future interactions. Like, what they tell me might not be 100% accurate. Maybe it's also not accurate from the eyes of like the administration of those places, but it's actually how they run. So it's a perspective. It's an insider's perspective. And part of the way in which I personally try and understand which groups I'm happy with making recommendations towards, or which resources I will tell people about when I have the opportunity, and which ones I'm less interested in talking about. But again, usually it's more like which one fits their needs. Like, is it a couple? Do they have dogs? Do they have to be sober for a while? Is it way out on the west side? Do they have obligations here in town? What are the restrictions? Have they already been there? If they tried it? Do they know where this place is? If I mention a place, how could they get there? Do I know about like how far it is? Are there other things that could be appealing? Like, do they offer services for the dog at all? Do they have a daytime shower? Like, you don't even have to stay there necessarily, but you could go take advantage of daytime services. Hanging out in places like not the monks, but like, if I call them the friars, not very many people respond to that, but if I call them the monks, that is the Franciscan friars on Copper and San Mateo, people will often know about that. They do Wednesday lunches. I sometimes just go hang out. Not like a total creeper, but I hang out. I get to chat, get to know people, talk to the friars, talk to the other volunteers. Sometimes I have a hot chocolate. It's pretty nice. I'd recommend you check it out. Knowing about some of the local resources, I probably don't even know about them all. Let's see, off the top of my head, we've got the Harm Reduction Collaborative at Madera and Domingo. We've got FairWestWork at 120 Madera. That's Madera and Domingo across the street. Let's see. therapeutic living services on Domingo. You'll see they have a bus and gated in lot with people who often are often sitting out there. Let's see, going down, there's a Spanish-speaking AA group that I haven't been into. I've been thinking about it though, at the corner of Domingo and San Pedro. State of the Heart Recovery. They've got 2 locations in the neighborhood, the old Barber College, as well as over on California and Lynn, which is across San Pedro, heading towards the fairground. And then who else do we have in the neighborhood? There used to be a nonprofit that would help recently incarcerated or released from incarceration people get reestablished. I don't know if they're still here. They were at like they were near Patty's Spa, but I don't see a lot of activity there anymore. Best Chance, I think it was called, or Best Choice, I forget. I got a card somewhere. There's probably more. There might be more. Anyway, knowing about local stuff, and then really just branching outside of the neighborhood. There's CARES Campus, which is a detox center. There's a safe outdoor space at New Creation on Zuni and Tennessee. There is the Compassion Center. There is an, did I already say Endorphin Power Company? I'll say it again. There are a handful of different methadone clinics around the area. There's ACS headquarters down on like Catherine and San Mateo. If people are so inclined, there's Sagebrush Church over the Mark Twain neighborhood. I'm not sure. I don't really know what if they offer services, but I'm under they probably do. They probably, I think they have like pantry for clothes and food. That's what I've heard. Sundowner, they have some pretty affordable housing in the area, and also it's not supportive, but they offer a lot, I think, of they try and get rid of a lot of barriers for people who have had problematic histories for renting. So they also have a food bank twice a week. I don't think it's open to the public though. Not really. Let's see. But those sort of things, good to know about. Always more to learn. All right, I didn't really get too much of a scenario example, but I've talked for a while. Conclusion. Hanging out in the harm reduction line. Has it made me feel safer? Yeah, it has. I've had a lot of strange kind of conversations. Some of them are like kind of scattered. Some of them are really, really upsetting. Some of them are really personal. I've never been threatened. I have been near people who are like playing with knives and stuff like that. I've been around a lot of people who are using drugs and out there in public, and it's like I just walk in and I walk out. At the end of the day, I feel safer. Email, I'll leave a comment if you have a question, topic, idea, resource, scenario, something that you want to share. That's it.